When the Minnesota Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round, many NFL fans couldn't believe it. Analysts called him overrated. Critics said he was nothing more than a game manager hiding behind Michigan's dominant roster, and some even predicted he would be one of the biggest quarterback busts of his draft class. Then came the injuries, the missed development time, and the endless headlines questioning whether the Vikings had made a massive mistake. But while the football world was busy laughing at the pick, something dangerous was happening behind the scenes. The same quarterback everyone dismissed was quietly developing into the player Minnesota always believed he could become. And now, after years of doubt, setbacks, and criticism, J.J. McCarthy is entering the NFL with something every great quarterback needs: a chip on his shoulder big enough to make the entire league nervous. For years, J.J. McCarthy lived with a label he never earned. Before he had thrown a single NFL pass, critics had already decided who he was. They called him a system quarterback. They said he benefited from Michigan's dominant defense and elite running game. They argued that he wasn't asked to carry the offense the way other top quarterback prospects were. While players like Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels generated headlines with massive passing numbers, McCarthy was often portrayed as the quarterback who simply managed games. The criticism followed him everywhere. And yet, the strange thing about J.J. McCarthy's football journey is that almost every major stage of his career has been defined by one thing: winning. Long before the NFL debate began, McCarthy was already building a reputation as a competitor. Growing up in Illinois, he emerged as one of the nation's top quarterback recruits. His talent was obvious, but what coaches consistently noticed was his confidence. He played with the belief that he belonged on the biggest stages. That confidence eventually led him to the University of Michigan. At the time, Michigan was desperate to return to national prominence. The program had history, tradition, and expectations, but it was still searching for the quarterback who could help restore it to championship status. McCarthy arrived with enormous expectations. As a young player, he showed flashes of elite athleticism and arm talent. He could throw on the move, escape pressure, and make difficult off-platform throws that many college quarterbacks simply couldn't execute. But earning the starting job wasn't easy. He spent time developing behind veteran quarterback Cade McNamara while learning Michigan's offense. For many young stars, waiting can be frustrating. McCarthy used it as motivation. When his opportunity finally arrived, he didn't waste it. In 2022, McCarthy became Michigan's full-time starting quarterback. The Wolverines finished with a 13-1 record, won the Big Ten championship, and reached the college football playoff. Yet even then, the criticism continued. Michigan wasn't asking McCarthy to throw 50 passes a game. The offense relied heavily on a powerful running attack and physical football. Because of that, many analysts questioned whether McCarthy was truly carrying the team or simply benefiting from the system around him. What those critics often ignored was efficiency. McCarthy wasn't putting up empty numbers. He was protecting the football, making smart decisions, and delivering in critical moments. His coaches trusted him because he consistently made winning plays. The following season only strengthened his reputation. In 2023, Michigan entered the year with national championship aspirations. The pressure surrounding the program was enormous. Every game felt like a test. Every mistake was magnified. McCarthy responded with the best season of his college career. He completed passes at an elite rate, demonstrated improved decision-making, and continued to show the mobility that made him dangerous outside the pocket. More importantly, he helped Michigan accomplish something the program had been chasing for decades: a national championship. The Wolverines finished 15-0 and defeated Washington in the college football playoff national championship game. McCarthy left Michigan as one of the winningest quarterbacks in school history. For most college quarterbacks, that accomplishment would silence critics. For McCarthy, it somehow created new ones. As the 2024 NFL draft approached, debate surrounded nearly every aspect of his game. Some evaluators loved his upside. Others remained skeptical. The biggest criticism was simple: could he become an elite NFL quarterback if he hadn't been asked to throw at a high volume in college? It became one of the most discussed questions of the entire draft process. Supporters pointed to his athleticism, leadership, intelligence, and arm talent. Skeptics pointed to the lack of massive passing statistics. The divide was significant. Then draft night arrived. The Minnesota Vikings believed in him. After years of searching for their future at quarterback, Minnesota selected J.J. McCarthy with the 10th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. The organization viewed him as a long-term investment. They weren't drafting him solely for what he was at that moment. They were drafting him for what he could become. Many fans were excited. Others immediately questioned the decision. The pressure was immense. Quarterbacks selected in the first round are expected to change franchises. Every throw is analyzed. Every mistake becomes a headline. For McCarthy, the challenge became even more difficult before it truly began. During the preseason, he showed encouraging flashes. Coaches praised his development. Teammates spoke highly of his work ethic. There was growing excitement about his future. Then everything changed. A knee injury ended his rookie season before it could properly begin. Just like that, the year was over. For a young quarterback, there are few setbacks more frustrating than losing valuable development time. While other rookies gained experience, learned through mistakes, and adjusted to NFL speed, McCarthy was forced to watch from the sidelines. Immediately, questions emerged. Would the injury slow his growth? Could he recover mentally and physically? Would Minnesota need to rethink its plans? The criticism that had followed him throughout his football journey returned. Some fans began wondering whether the Vikings had made the wrong choice.
Others questioned whether McCarthy would ever become the franchise quarterback they envisioned. But inside the organization, belief remained strong. Coaches consistently praised his approach to rehabilitation. Teammates noted his commitment to learning the offense. Rather than withdrawing during recovery, he remained engaged. He studied, he prepared, he learned. Those months didn't provide game experience, but they gave him something else: perspective. Quarterbacks often develop physically before they develop mentally. McCarthy's injury forced him to spend an entire season observing the game from a different angle. He watched defenses, he analyzed schemes, he learned how NFL coaches approach preparation. While the public focused on what he wasn't doing, he continued building for the future. That process revealed something important about his character. Throughout his football career, adversity had never completely disappeared. At Michigan, he had to earn the starting job. As a prospect, he had to answer questions about his abilities. As an NFL rookie, he had to battle through injury. Each challenge created doubt from the outside. Each challenge strengthened him internally. And that's what makes quarterback development so difficult to predict. History is filled with examples of players who struggled early before eventually thriving. NFL careers rarely follow a perfect script. Some quarterbacks dominate immediately. Others require patience. Development happens differently for every player. What makes McCarthy intriguing is that many of the traits scouts loved before the draft still exist. The arm talent is still there. The mobility is still there. The leadership remains intact. The competitive toughness hasn't disappeared. Those qualities were never dependent on statistics or headlines. They were part of who he was as a player. Perhaps that's why so many people inside football continue to believe in his future. Coaches often talk about traits that cannot be measured on a stat sheet: leadership, resilience, accountability, and confidence. McCarthy has consistently demonstrated those characteristics throughout his career. At Michigan, teammates trusted him. At Minnesota, that respect has continued to grow. Of course, belief alone doesn't guarantee success. The NFL is filled with talented players who never reach their potential. Eventually, every quarterback must prove himself on the field. McCarthy understands that reality better than anyone. No amount of college success can guarantee NFL greatness. No championship ring can secure a starting job. Everything must be earned again and again and again. That's the challenge waiting in front of him. But it is also what makes his story compelling. Many players enter the NFL with universal praise. Expectations are high. The spotlight is bright. McCarthy's journey has been different. For years, he has operated under skepticism. Every accomplishment has been accompanied by questions. Every success has been met with doubt. And sometimes that experience can become a powerful advantage. Players who have been doubted often develop a different mindset. They learn how to handle criticism. They learn how to stay focused when outside opinions become loud. Most importantly, they learn how to keep working when nobody is watching. That mindset may ultimately define McCarthy's NFL career, because the truth is, nobody knows exactly what his future holds. Maybe he becomes the franchise quarterback Minnesota envisioned. Maybe he develops into one of the NFL's most efficient starters. Maybe he exceeds every expectation placed upon him. Or maybe the critics eventually prove correct. That uncertainty is what makes football fascinating. But one thing is already clear. The narrative surrounding J.J. McCarthy has never fully matched reality.
Calling him a college bust ignores the fact that he helped lead Michigan to a national championship. Calling him a system quarterback ignores the athletic tools and leadership qualities that made him a first-round selection. And writing him off because of early adversity ignores how often great careers are built through setbacks. Today, J.J. McCarthy stands at a critical point in his journey. The expectations remain enormous. The questions still exist. The pressure hasn't disappeared. But neither has the talent, neither has the confidence, neither has the determination that carried him from a highly recruited prospect to a national champion and eventually a first-round NFL quarterback. The next chapter of his career will be written on NFL fields, not social media timelines. And if history has taught us anything about J.J. McCarthy, it's this. The moment people become convinced they know his limits is usually the moment he starts proving them wrong. That's why NFL defenses should pay attention, because the quarterback many people once dismissed isn't focused on proving critics wrong anymore. He's focused on proving he belongs. And if he succeeds, the player some once labeled a future bust may become exactly what every NFL team fears most, a quarterback who finally figures it all out. Maybe J.J. McCarthy never becomes the next NFL superstar. Maybe the critics still end up being right. But one thing is certain, the story isn't finished. The quarterback many people dismissed has already overcome injuries, doubt, and endless questions about his talent. Now he finally has the opportunity to write his own chapter. And if everything clicks, the player once labeled a future bust could become one of the biggest success stories in football. Because sometimes the most dangerous quarterback isn't the one everyone believes in, it's the one everyone gave up on too soon.